This is the E-commerce Edge podcast with your host, Jason Greenwood. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm exceptionally proud to welcome our next guest, Mr. Tiago COSTA ROCHA from Fullvenue and Clustie. Welcome to the podcast, Tiago.
Thank you very much, Jason. I love the accent that you have. I can see that
Thank you.
you have been practicing your Portuguese.
I've been practicing my Spanish at least I've been immersed in Latin language over the last, since 2023, we've been living in Mexico. So I've been immersed in a Latin language. And then last year, we went to 8 European countries on a European trip when I was there for a conference. And we unfortunately didn't get to Portugal, but we spent some time in France. We spent some time in Italy. So I was able to get exposed to more Latin languages while I was there. Yeah, I'm definitely trying to improve my understanding of the Romance languages, should we say.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a pleasure to be here and thanks for the invitation. So really happy to discuss a little bit about this e-commerce new trends, the AI, the segmentation. So let's go for it.
I love it. I love it. Listen, thank you so much for coming and spending time with me today. But before we get into Fullvenue, Clustie, and all the work you're doing on AI automated marketing, segmentation, remarketing, etc., why don't you tell me and our audience how you came to be in this space? It's interesting because back in 2012, you were an energy efficiency department trainee. Prior to that, for Sonai Industria, you were an energy management project trainee. Then you became a digital project manager, business analyst, etc., in tech-focused businesses. So nothing about your history would tell me, oh, this guy's going to start an amazing MarTech platform to do amazing things that have never been done before. So, like, how did you get here?
Yeah, a roller coaster. And now that I'm hearing it from you, I'm thinking about it. It's a roller coaster. It is. But yeah, I'm an electrical engineer. So when you saw that I was working in energy management for a great European company, I was based in Germany. I went to Germany to deploy a huge project regarding energy management inside a business unit, a factory. So totally different of what I'm doing today. That was the start. So immediately after that start, I had the opportunity to shift to IT consultancy. And I went to Lisbon to work in an IT consultancy company that was delivering CRM projects for Vodafone all over the world. And I spent there for 4 years, more or less. And then another plot twist in my career, I received an invitation to go to the football or soccer industry in the Portuguese Football Association immediately after winning the Euro Cup in 2016 to manage the digital area and building a bridge between marketing and technology teams. And that was when the marketing appeared in my life. So starting to develop CRM projects, e-commerce projects, ticketing projects, and understand how to leverage these areas with the marketing side. So it was the first approach to marketing with a solid tech basis because my responsibility was to guarantee that the infrastructure, the product was going to work. And then at the same time, curiously, I started a business on F&B area, so with a small healthy coffee in Lisbon, managing all the departments and understanding how to leverage the business on social media, bring more followers that can be converted in clients. So a lot of things happening, and finally this will of creating something, of building something, the opportunity arose, and I started Fullvenue in 2020. That in the end, it's a connection between technology with AI and marketing with all this advertising space and leveraging the budget that all the brands are investing on this channel. So this is a little bit of how I came here.
I like it. I like it. What a journey. We all come into this industry through slightly different. I don't know that many people, to be honest, out of 645 episodes of this podcast. I don't know that many people that came into e-commerce or digital intentionally. Like almost everybody, including myself, it was an accidental happening that drew us into this industry. I know that, like, when I first got into this industry, a friend of a friend owned an e-commerce agency in Christchurch, New Zealand. He happened to be an American like me living in New Zealand. He had married a Kiwi, and we met through this mutual friend. And he said, look, I run this digital agency, I run this e-commerce agency, and if you're interested in e-commerce at all, why don't you come and work with me and I'll teach you everything I know. And it was literally just as I knew that e-commerce was going to change the world. I just didn't know how, and I didn't know how much. And I was like, oh, sure, this makes a lot of sense. I was between roles at the time. I'd come out of 5 years in hospitality, and I was like, okay, what do I do next? What's the next chapter of my career going to be? Is it going to be still in hospitality, restaurant management, bar management, or is it going to be in tech? And I always had an interest in tech because my father, when I was young, ran tech companies. When typewriters were still a thing, he owned a typewriter sales and service company. And then when business computers became a thing, he owned a computer sales and service company. And so I was immersed in tech from a very young age. And when I got into e-commerce, I loved it far more than I expected to love it. I had this insatiable curiosity about how the internet worked, about how e-commerce worked, about how SEO worked, just about all the nuts and bolts of the internet, how it worked. And that in 26 years later, I'm still doing it. I still have insane curiosity about our industry. I still love it. I still can't imagine waking up doing anything else. So I guess maybe we both made the right decision.
Yeah, and I love to be here talking with you about this because there is a lot to do inside the e-commerce landscape, and everyone is wondering how to do it better and questioning how to do it. But in the end, the basis sometimes are the only thing that we providers need to guarantee that the client is doing. There's no magic in it, there's no secret sauce in it. It's to do the basics, do it well, to be present where you need to be when you are a brand, and to guarantee that this is working. And then, of course, you need to do the work, you need to do marketing, you need to do communication, you need to do this kind of content that we are doing here. But yes, it's an incredible landscape, and in the end, you can show results, and that's the best part of it.
I couldn't agree more. Now, tell me how Fullvenue came to be, and did you establish both the Fullvenue platform and the Clustie platform at the same time, or did Fullvenue come first and then the Clustie intelligence layer for Shopify data come after? Was it always your vision to offer sort of two separate pieces of technology under one technical roof, or how did the evolution of the business come about?
Yeah. So the story starts with Fullvenue. So Fullvenue was the beginning. So it's the start of all this story, and we started doing AI marketing consultancy for brands around the end of 2020. And what was this AI marketing? Because the AI buzz came 1.5, 2 years ago, not in 2020. People were already talking about AI, but I remember that during our lunch, everyone was talking about NFTs, blockchain, all those metaverse. So everything that we today don't know yet where we are going to be, but AI was not a buzzword. So we started delivering this kind of intelligence that in the end was reading all the data that the brands were generating in their first party data channels. So if you think about a retail brand on their e-commerce side, on their CRM side, email marketing, etc. If you are thinking about, for example, events on the ticketing side, if you think about sports industry on the merchandising and ticketing side. So analyzing all this data, build some intelligence, so delivering insights about what was happening and creating what took us where we are today, some segmentation on top of the data that our clients have. So creating this segmentation per se is not enough. So what we are doing after it was integrating this segmentation on the marketing side, on the advertising platforms. So like Meta, TikTok, Google, so wherever our client was investing. So this was Fullvenue. If you were one of our clients, we will arrive to your brand, look into your data landscape, connect to which data source, bring the data to a data lake, apply our AI segmentation, generate the segments, deliver the segments on the marketing channel, and measure the success that you were having comparing with what you were doing before our entry. So by doing this, we were able to get a lot of interesting clients, so tier one clients working with football associations from all over Europe, working with huge music festivals in Europe, also like Primavera Sound, Brunch Electronics. So a lot of great brands working with us, and also entering in the retail landscape, working with some fashion and apparel brands, beauty and cosmetics. And the wheel was always the same. That was, how can I turn my advertising budget in more revenue to my products, to my brand? And of course, that by thinking about this and bringing some investment from a VC company, so we were invested in around 2024, we needed to start to think on how to productize our solution. Because when you are delivering a service, you are a consultant, and you cannot aim to have 100 or 1000 clients without booming your costs internally. So we needed, okay, we have a solid base of clients inside Fullvenue that we keep today, so we're still working with them. It's a unit, a business unit that we like to have, because we really like this close relation to these clients, because at the same time we are using them to test new features of our product. But we focused really hard in creating a solution that was a standalone solution, so software as a service, fully handled by the brand, and that was operating in an ocean that was fully crowded with the fishes that we wanted to get. And this ocean was Shopify. So we understood that, okay, let's select a platform where our product, that is Clustie, should be connected to, in order that we can have an attainable market that will allow us to get into the next step of our startup. And Shopify was a no-brainer for us. So we created this really simple tool that is Clustie, that connects an e-commerce platform, in this case Shopify, with advertising platforms like Meta, for example, and Google, and generates AI audiences in the middle that will perform better than generic audiences. Because in the end, what we are doing is we are using the data that is proprietary from our customer to build this segmentation and be agnostic to other information, other noise that is inevitably present on Meta platform, for example, to guarantee that the return on ad spend is higher with our segmentation. So if you think about Fullvenue, in the beginning, it was a service. For example, a setup of a project like the ones we were delivering would take like 1 month to guarantee that we connect to the data, we analyze the data, we connect to the advertising platforms. Today, if you own a Shopify store and you want to try Clustie, probably you need less than 5 minutes to have the audience in your Meta account and start measuring what's happening. So this is the story that took us to Clustie. So Fullvenue is the big umbrella. Clustie is our star product right now, and is what we are trying to scale.
And if I have a Shopify store and I install Clustie, am I getting all of the Fullvenue technology behind the scenes, running all of the segmentation, doing all of the mapping, creating the lookalike audiences, connecting to other, like oftentimes there are systems outside of Shopify that we need to be getting signals from, and obviously there are MTA platforms like Northbeam and Triple Whale, and then we have a lot of other platforms out there. If we were to log into the Shopify App Store right now and talk about MTA platforms, or we were to talk about AI marketing platforms or retention platforms, or whatever, there's literally hundreds of them out there. And so, what do you think makes your platform stand out? And when you looked out, like when you started this whole thing just almost 6 years ago now, and you looked out across the marketing tech, the MarTech and ad tech, because you're a hybrid platform as I see it. You're MarTech and your ad tech, because you're helping businesses run their MarTech stack, have the segmentation, have the insights capability, but also an ad tech platform in the sense that you still connect with Meta and you're helping to actually set up these segments within the Meta platform as well. So I look at you as a bit of a hybrid platform. But when you looked out there nearly 6 years ago, what was it about the market that made you say, hey, look, there's some cool stuff out there. There's some cool tech doing some cool things, but there's some gaps. And we think we can uniquely fill those gaps.
Yeah. So the rationale was, I believe that there are a couple of pillars inside advertising that everyone wants to focus in, like the audience, the creatives, the message, the budget that you spend. And most of the platforms that we know, and everybody knows that is working with MarTech, AdTech, they try to tackle all of them somehow. at the point that they get a bit confusing when used by small medium enterprise user. What we tried to do since the beginning, and we are trying to do with Clustie, is focus on our niche. It's a really simple solution, only focused on audience intelligence. Our claim is to democratize audience intelligence for all the brands using Shopify in this case. Of course, that we want to scale to other platforms. So, what we have under the logic of Clustie is a set of AI models that we are developing every day that are generating these audiences dynamically because they are being updated every week. And in the end, the only thing that you are a Shopify store owner and you have Clustie on your tech stack, the only thing that you need to do is to connect the audience when you do the onboarding of the product, connect the audience to Meta on your first login, and then the audience will be automatically updated every week. And every time that we find a new audience, so we find that you have enough customers to create a new audience. Like right now, we are working mainly with two audiences. So the high propensity buying audiences, that is the perfect DNA to buy products on your store, and the other is the 30-day buying intent. So we are identifying an audience that will much probably buy on the next 30 days. This first audience, the high propensity buyers audience, is generated immediately when you register on Clustie. So it's immediately available. You just need to connect to Meta. The other 30 days buying intent is generated on the first, second day that you are using the platform, and you will receive a notification on Clustie saying the audience is ready to be integrated, and so on. So we will be fully focused on the audience intelligence because we will bring the results that are happening in Meta to our product to reanalyze and to give you insights that you can actionate inside our platform. So we will not only give you the insights, we will allow you to perform the action with one click, because we want to be this kind of AI agents for audience intelligence. And the way that we are competing with all other products that are navigating into this landscape is we want to be the intelligence behind all the audience logic on the brand. So we don't want to go for creatives, we don't want to go for messages, we want to be on the targeting side, of course leveraging also the developments that Meta is doing. For example, Meta is working a lot with signals today because everyone is struggling, so we need to understand who is looking to the product, who is adding a product to the basket, and a lot of signals are being generated. We managed to bring those signals back to our products and connect the signals with first-party data. So somehow we can bring the signals and put them inside our audiences that will be integrated with Meta. And at the first sight, and for the ones that are really familiar with first-party data and third-party data, if you think about signals, you think about third-party data because the customer is not identified. That's not true because there is something on the data that is called the Facebook click ID that is associated with the user. And when you have the Facebook click ID and you bring the Facebook click ID, you can cross with the data that you have on your side and you can create audiences based on that. So there are a lot of things that we are investigating here in Clustie. So our promise for the future is we want to be the experts on audience intelligence. We will develop the product a lot because the product itself was launched in November 2025, so we are just starting, but already with a solid base of customers, a solid base of results. Even when comparing with campaigns that were created 2-3 years ago, you create a new campaign and in maybe 2 weeks we are performing already better than the campaigns that were created before. So this is what we are trying to do, is not to start looking everywhere. So let's create videos and images with AI, let's create messages with AI. No, let's focus on the audience, let's focus on everything that we have regarding audiences and try to leverage the results of our customers with this logic.
And how do you think Clustie compares to something like Klaviyo's native audience integration with Meta, for example, or some of the other tools that people already use in their Shopify stack? And then aside from that question, if I wanted to, let's say I'm not running Shopify, but I wanted to use the Fullvenue technology on my platform, is it something that simply would require a custom integration, say via API or something like that, to an alternate platform other than Shopify? Or have you decided to go all in on Shopify and say, look, if you run something else, you go find a tool that's designed specifically for that platform. We're going to double down and triple down on the Shopify ecosystem, and that's really where our focus is today.
Yeah. So, answering to your first question, when we compare ourselves with, for example, Klaviyo and other email marketing platforms, the segmentation part of these platforms, and we can put, for example, Salesforce here, because Salesforce, they have an AI marketing platform, and inside the marketing platform they have a AI segmentation module to be subscribed. So 3 levels of subscription. So that is already a huge difference between Clustie and that kind of huge companies. But these segmentation modules of these products are always something that requires an action from the user. So the user needs to select which kind of audience they want to create and give the instruction to the platform to extract the audience or integrate on the advertising channel. We are creating the audiences alone on our logic and suggesting the audiences already created to the customer. You just need to click and insert. At the same time, we are offering the possibility of creating a super campaign. We call it a super campaign because we have a set of business rules that is reading all the campaigns, active campaigns on the Meta account from our partner, bringing the best assets from each campaign, creating a new campaign and injecting our audiences. And with one click, you will have a Clustie campaign created for several geographies where you have enough data to create audiences too. So this is the answer to the first questions. Can you remember the second that you...
Yeah, so if I don't run Shopify, am I out of luck from a Fullvenue situation because you're now so solely focused on Shopify?
Yeah, so if you don't have a Shopify store, we still have this business unit. That is right now, if you say, for example, imagine that you are an investor and we are discussing the Series A fundraising. The business unit focused on R&D, on this kind of project with stores that are not based in Shopify, that are based in Magento, are based in eCommerce, for example. These are strategic projects. So you need to be a strategic brand operating in a strategic geography. And what is strategic for us in terms of business acquisition? So the number of stores that we can reach by doing this kind of project. At the same time, if there is some interest in terms of VC investment on this kind of product that we have inside this startup. So if you have a strategic project, we will run this project, we'll make you a proposal, we will have this setup that will take a little bit longer, but we will deliver exactly the same logic, because after building the connection with e-commerce platform, the tool, the engine is the same. At the same time, we are analyzing if we should start developing the integrations with at least Magento, that is placed on the Adobe Marketplace, and WooCommerce with WordPress. So we are considering this, but honestly, right now, with the amount of stores that we have on Shopify, we have a challenge, and this is what I try to pass to all my team, is that we need to guarantee excellence in Clustie with Shopify. If we can guarantee the acquisition, the retention inside the margins that we have defined, we are ready to scale, not only for WooCommerce and Magento, but for other tools. And on the other side, on the advertising platform side, we can bring TikTok, we can bring Snapchat, we can start thinking about OpenAI and ChatGPT ads. But first things first, as I used to say. So first, we have a connection with a huge marketplace, that is Shopify, with tons of e-commerce platforms all over the world. And we have a connection with Meta and the possibility to integrate with Google also. So with this landscape, we need to scale. If we can prove that our product is good enough to scale inside this landscape, we will think about scaling the platforms also in order to boost the attainable market.
And how do you think about other third-party integrations that can help improve your audience intelligence beyond the pure data that Shopify provides? Obviously, platforms like Klaviyo, other platforms that integrate with other digital touch points, they have their own unique data sets that can help inform your segmentation engine. They can provide context, they can provide additional data, They can, for example, you might know everything that a customer does inside Shopify and their behavior, like what pages of the site they visit, how many times they've visited, how many purchases they've made, what their RFM score is based on your proprietary algorithm. Like, you might be able to do all of that, but you won't necessarily know where that visitor originated. And that's a challenge. But if you, for example, integrated with Klaviyo, then you can get the Klaviyo click-through data, you can get the impression data. There's a whole lot of data that other third-party platforms that already integrate with Shopify, there's signals that come from that is difficult to get purely through a Shopify native integration. So how do you guys think about these third-party signals and your data enrichment process, and how that can be improved over time through partnerships, through technical partnerships with other third-party vendors?
We need to go there. We need to go there. That's different because when you shift from Shopify to other e-commerce solution, you are navigating in the same lake that you were before.
Yes.
When you think about Klaviyo, you are thinking about one of the integrations that we have already highlighted, because in the end you will be boosting two sides. You will bring more data and more qualified to the data that you already have to analyze, and at the same time you can deliver your audiences to Klaviyo also.
Yes.
So not only bring the data from Klaviyo or an email marketing platform, but also to deliver this segmentation to boost everything that is being done inside Klaviyo. And at the same time, we are, and this is about the market, we can feel some resistances right now. So if you think about the sales channels of our company today, you find e-commerce brands that own a Shopify store, and you find marketing agencies, performance marketing agencies. And we are struggling a lot with marketing agencies. They like the product, but when they use the product and they see that with 3 clicks in 5 days, the campaign and the audiences that Clustie created are performing even better than everything that they were doing in the last 3 years, I think that they are feeling some,
They're feeling
I don't know if
threatened.
it's, of course, and it makes sense. And these kind of integrations that we can bring to Clustie can be a way also to guarantee that we can enter in the market with another approach. Because this is something that I really think, because Fullvenue in the beginning, we needed to do a kind of a marketing work, or also performance marketing work, by actioning when our client didn't have a marketing agency, they were asking us to perform the marketing campaigns for them with our audiences. And we had a team that were doing that was doing that. So we saw it. The marketing agencies, they need to adopt technology. We did it, and today we are a tech company only, and what we created is something that we want to deliver to a marketing agency. In your question, no doubts about it, the kind of data that is coming from Klaviyo is super important to enrich what we already have, that it's only based on e-commerce. And at the same time, we really want to try this with email marketing communication, because it's also a really interesting channel, sales channel for the brands that we are working with. And if we can inject these AI audiences that we already have on an email marketing platform, probably can have even better results that we can bring to our product and show to our customers. So I can see a lot of advantages with this kind of evolution of the product.
And it's interesting because I come from an agency background. I've run and built multiple agencies over the years. So and now I'm an independent consultant. I don't do any implementation at all. I'm a pure consultancy, and I really like actually being an independent consultant, because it means I don't have to push or promote any one specific platform or one specific technology. I can be truly tech agnostic and recommend the best solution in the moment to my clients, and then do the solution architecture for that stack. And where do you see the future, particularly of marketing agencies? Because I feel like we're not that far away from full AI creative, full AI dynamic messaging, full AI audience management through platforms like yours, and full connectivity to all of the sales and marketing channels that are out there in the world, whether that be TikTok Shop, whether that be Meta, Google, whatever comes along. And so I wonder, because at the moment, I still think human creative augmented with AI is better than pure AI creative and pure AI messaging. I feel human and machine or human in the loop work is going to lead to a better result than pure AI everything. That's today. But in another 12, 24, 36 months, like I'm already building some amazing stuff in Claude, in Lovable, etc. Like I'm doing some pretty amazing stuff. Now I'm highly technical. And so I don't think those tools are at a place yet where my wife could build something in Claude Code or Claude Cowork or Lovable. Like it's probably not that user friendly yet, but we're not that far away from it being user friendly enough to where you could just verbally describe what you want to see in the world and it gets built and it gets integrated and it just runs and it fully runs in the cloud and you pay for a few tokens and it all just happens seamlessly behind the scenes. So agentic AI is moving fast. Code-based AI is moving fast. I was listening to one of the co-founders of Anthropic the other day on a podcast, and he said, I haven't written a line of code on my own since November of 25. He said, I use Claude Code to help develop Claude Code. So the reality is we're now in this meta cognition phase that is starting to be pretty wild. And yes, do I think AI is going to replace everybody in the white collar workforce? Absolutely not. Does AI have my 26 years of experience in this industry? No, because I haven't put all that internal knowledge that's in my brain doesn't yet live in an AI system. So there's still value in me being able to contextualize my knowledge and experience for my customers on a one-to-one high touch consulting basis and to handhold them through major decisions that cost major money. But I think that AI is slowly starting to pick off certain slivers of marketing, creative capability, etc. I just think of even me now through the use of AI, I do my own podcast post production. I create all of the thumbnails. I do all of the post production and distribution myself, one guy. And I'm releasing 3 1-hour podcast episodes a week. Without AI, impossible. Impossible. I would need a team behind me without AI to be able to do the kind of scale that I'm doing this at, right? Now that's not my core business, but if it was, and let's say I was in the podcast industry or the podcast services industry, I would be pretty worried right now because, or let's say I had a podcast agency. I'd be pretty worried right now because the tools, maybe they aren't 100% there for people that are non-technical, but the technology is still evolving super rapidly. So we're going to be at a place in 12, 24, 36 months where the tools of today are going to look positively ancient and they're going to look clunky in comparison to what we're going to have in 24 to 36 months. Where do you think that leaves the value prop of a marketing agency 3 years from now?
I love that question because we have the opportunity here to talk directly to the founders, to the CEOs, and to the shareholders of these companies. And I have a really strong vision about it. So the marketing agencies will not be terminated, so they will have their space. They need to understand how to be specialists using a tech stack based with AI. So they need to understand, they need to try tools of each part of the work that they are doing today. They need to be the brand, they need to be the agency that when a brand makes a phone call and asks them to do a work of 3-6 months to them, they can advise exactly what to do, with what tools they should work with, and how they should work with the tools. Because we can have different levels of proficiency when using an AI tool, as the ones you told about. But I would say that's from 1 to 5. The brand owner will be, okay, on the 3, probably, level 3. The marketing agencies needs to be level 5, so the best that they can be using these tools. And by being specialists using technology, they can continue working with a lot of brands and even getting more brands because they are the marketing agency specialized in AI tech stack, and they are able to deliver all this intelligence to the brands that they work with. In the end, the message needs to be they need to embrace what's happening in the market. Because imagine, I can see something that's incredible, and I have an interesting story about AI to tell you after this answer. But with all the clients that are coming from all over the world, from the US, from Colombia, from Romania, from the UK, from Dubai, from everywhere, we are receiving brands that are using Clustie. And most of these brands, they have a marketing agency, because we are like a tool that works in the middle between the marketing agency and the Shopify store. And in most of these brands, we can see that the agencies are manually updating the budgets every day. So they are looking into CTRs, they are looking into impressions, they are looking into return on ad spend, and they are going up and going down day after day. So they are breaking Meta's algorithm, because the algorithm is not able to be stable. They are doing a work that is basically spray and pray and try to get the ROAS that they think that they should have, and they are not giving the technology the time to show the results that consistently should appear within 1 month, 2 months, 6 months. So these kind of things, and we are talking about budget optimization, so we are not still there with Clustie, but we are looking into it because we are seeing these things. The budget optimization today cannot be manual. We cannot have a performance marketing analyst thinking, okay, let's put $10 more today because yesterday we sold 10 pieces more. And this kind of work, the agencies need to find, for example, a tool focused on budget optimization that they can present to the brand. Okay, this will cost X, or the fee of the agency is X, and we are going to assume, because we are able to build partnerships with the products, potential partnerships that will give us money in the end, and we will assume this tech to deliver to the client. So I think these kind of things are a must-have to the agencies. And then the story that I wanted to talk about, the AI and the velocity that we can have, we took a couple of months to deliver the MVP of Clustie. So a lot of work, thinking a lot of errors, trying to bring clients to the beta testing phase, analyzing everything that was not correct. So I believe that 4 or 5 months to deliver the MVP and put this live. Then, a couple of weeks ago, the customer success team started to ask for a back office. So they don't have a back office, and we were already with more than 40 brands inside the Clustie product. They were not owning a simple back office where they can manage all the brands, seeing everything that was happening, the errors, the results, and they were asking this from the tech team. And the tech lead started to look into what we could do with AI. If we were 5 years behind, probably to develop a back office, I would tell you, okay, in 6 months you will have a new back office for the CS team. But our tech lead started to look in what we could do with the capabilities that we already have internally. In 2 weeks, he delivered a back office to the customer success team. In 2 weeks. In 1 week, he was already trying and he was already showing to the team what he was building with AI. So it's crazy. Today, if you want to develop something, you can develop something. And in the end, you don't need even to be a developer, as you said. So it's impressive. But at the same time, everyone that gets specialists in this will have the leverage. So again, marketing agencies, they need to be specialists in tech. That is something for marketers that I believe that is not the thing that is not so sexy to be specialist in a tech stack, but I think that it's important right now.
It's interesting how you described that, where you might not get beat by AI, but you might get beat effectively. What you're saying is I might get beat by another human leveraging AI better than me. And even in my own life and my own work life, I'm trying to make sure that I'm staying ahead of my peers, my competitors in the market, and trying to automate as much of my daily work, my client work, using AI tooling as possible so that I'm as efficient as possible for them. Not only so that, for example, my goal is to take what would typically be a 6-month engagement and shrink it down to a 3-month engagement because of AI automation I can bring to my workflows and my processes in the way that I consult with my clients. And I'm exploring custom built apps that I build myself versus some off the shelf tooling. I'm trying and testing things, AI tooling, every single day. And I have done for the last 2 years. And it's interesting because, like, for example, one of the things I wanted to build and was trying to build in Lovable was a custom RAG pipeline for all of my podcast content based on the transcripts of my podcast from YouTube. Now, building that out in Lovable, even to a place of a POC, was frustrating to say the least. because the Supabase limitations in terms of timeouts, locks, the time to build the vector database, there was just massive limitations basically in the tool set. And when I looked out there in late 2025 or in mid 2025, say, when I started working on this, there was literally nothing out there that could do everything that I wanted to do with my own content. Now, fast forward to today, and just a couple of weeks ago, I was in a conversation with Gemini, and I was asking it, here's what I've been trying to build. Here's the challenges I've run into. Are there any off-the-shelf tools now that can do what I was trying to do and what I was trying to build custom inside of a native, like a SaaS platform? And they said, here's 4 platforms that can either get you all or a significant way there. So I reached out to Custom GPT, which would look like the platform that was the closest to what I needed. I signed up for their trial period. I tested it. I tried it. I ran into some problems. I ran into some limitations. So I reached out to them. I said, can I get on a call with one of your tech leads and ask them either, is some of this functionality already in your pipeline, or am I just using the tool wrong, or is there some other way I can get the tool to work the way I want it to that maybe I haven't discovered yet? And so the sales rep who I reached out to scheduled a call in my calendar with one of their tech leads, and we walked through the 2 absolute must-have functionalities that it appeared their platform did not offer. And they said, for one of them, they said, we should have this functionality. In fact, we released this functionality 2 weeks ago, but it apparently is not working properly on your account. Let me figure out why it's not working properly on your account. And for the other piece of must-have functionality, they said, and it was some metadata that they were truncating in their system instead of fully ingesting all of this metadata. And they said, we should be able to do this. This should not be a deal breaker. So I'm going to meet with my tech team. We're gonna schedule a call for 1 week from now, which is this coming Friday, and we should be able to resolve your tool deal breaker problems so that we can get you up and running on our platform end to end. Now, this company was only founded in 2023. They only had a production ready product really this year, and it's wild how if you work with these tech stacks early and you can effectively be a design partner with them, they will include things in their technology because they can add it so quickly now using AI coding. They can improve their product faster than ever before. And it used to be the behemoth software, SaaS software providers, you might put in a feature request and you'd be lucky if they would even see it for a year. Now, these companies are moving so fast that it actually benefits you to get in on the ground floor when they're still young, when they're still developing, when they haven't even necessarily decided on the way their pricing model yet. If you can get it on the ground floor and you can learn the platform inside and out, you can not only bring massive benefits to you and your business, but to your clients as well, because your clients are not going to jump through that many hoops to learn these platforms to become experts in them, are they?
Yeah, and if we think about all the companies that are using platforms where they are closed to the platforms that they selected to base their products, low code, no code platforms that took 1 month to develop a feature. And if you think about what you were saying, you were like, okay, we have these 2 features and they were able to deliver them in a couple of days. So,
Yeah.
and here we are seeing exactly the same thing because we selected a low code, no code platform to develop our products. At the same time, we had this phase where a back office was delivered in 2 weeks, and we thought, okay, we need to migrate immediately to a platform that is built with AI and all the requirements that we have that are coming. And today, and that's the part that we really like today, we are a company that bases all the development on the customer feedback because we have meetings, recurrent meetings with our clients, and we are consistently bringing feedback. And the features that we are putting on top of Clustie, they mainly come from feedback that we have from customers. Of course, that we analyze the feedback, we understand the root causes of the feedback, and we develop the product with that. But if we are able to develop these requirements in 2 days, and for example, test with the client that made the requests and then scale to all the other clients, this is another level. And for all the startups that are trying to build products, they need to be there. Yeah, they need to be there. immediately.
And it's wild how some of the biggest software companies in the world and even startups who were startups in the AI space weren't using AI code assistants up until recently. Like, it was wild how even 12 months ago, the AI software companies that were building AI tools and technologies that were going to be either agency facing, customer facing, whatever, they weren't even using AI coding tools themselves. They weren't using they weren't using Cursor, they weren't using Claude Code. They weren't like, it's wild how they themselves hadn't really adopted AI into their coding and development workflows, even for testing. But I'm starting to see now that AI native tech companies who are producing AI technology for business use, they now are all in on vibe coding themselves. So they still have top level engineers, but just like the co-founder of Anthropic said, I haven't handwritten a line of code myself. Like, I still review code, but I haven't handwritten a line of code since November of 2025, developing our own tools, our own technology internally. I'm using Claude Code exclusively for that. It's interesting how these companies have evolved not only to be AI first in what they're producing for use in the market, but they're becoming AI first internally too. And that is a
Exactly.
big change I've seen happen even just in the last 6 months.
Yeah, yeah, and I can give you the example. So if you think about Clustie audiences, the audiences are injected or in a Clustie campaign that we create automatically, or you can decide to inject the audiences on the campaigns that you already have running. Some of the things that we need to understand if they are happening or not are the results that we are generating with the audiences, which is the return on spend, the click-through rate, the cost per click, cost per acquisition, all those metrics. Imagine having AI bringing all that data, building these insights internally for developing our solutions, for developing our algorithms, developing our deliveries. And we are building this kind of reporting that is based with AI. So we bring the results back, we understand what's happening. And then, for example, the ICP of Clustie. Today, the ICP is all the brands using Shopify. Why? Probably beauty and cosmetics can be one of the most interesting ICPs, but why? Because of the retention that they have, the repetition of purchases that the customer have internally. So this kind of analysis with AI internally, not only for developing the solution, but for analyzing the results that the solution is generating, is super impressive. And we are being AI first internally and externally. So we are trying to be the best we can be and learning a lot, because as an AI company we have these responsibilities, and our investors are always asking for this. And when they see what we are today, so everyone working with AI, and 2 weeks ago we had a workshop where the tech team, so we have 3 engineers internally, and the tech lead was showing to all the team how to create products with AI. So using Visual Studio connected with the codecs from OpenAI,
Mhm.
and telling them to do the analysis, the design, the development with a prompt. So it's impressive, and we are living in a really interesting world right now in terms of marketing, in terms of tech, in terms of what we like to work with.
I couldn't agree more. It's a super, super exciting time. If you were to look out 6, 12, 18, I know this is a little bit of crystal ball gazing required here, but if you were to look out 6, 12, 18 months, is there anything your customers are asking for today that you don't do, that you say, we don't do it today, but in 2 weeks or 6 months we will be? Or do you see any other immediate gaps in the market that you don't yet fill that you think are high value targets to fill over the next, say, six months? Let's just maybe focus on 6 months out, because get out much further than that, it's pretty hard to predict where AI will be at that stage. But what is high priority for you? What does high priority look like for you guys from a development perspective internally?
Yeah, so I will focus in 2 major things that we see that our clients are asking for. One of them is the one related with budget optimization for the audience. They have a campaign with several audiences, several ad sets, and the way the budget is floating in between the campaigns and the way that the budget is being invested should be fully automated based on the market, the day, the hour of the day, the season that we are, everything. So this is one of the things that we need to bring. So the audiences and the budget optimization connected and automatically performing to bring. So the audiences and the budget optimization connect, and that's a struggle because it audience for the product, because you have brands that are selling a lot of products, and in certain times they are more interested in selling a specific product, and they want to have an audience for that product. And what we are trying to do is to augment the data that we have available to analyze, because if we are using AI on top of data, we need to have huge amount of data. If you think about all the database, the orders database from Shopify, okay, we can generate audiences. But if you think only on a product and everyone that bought a product, it's a reduced audience.
Yes.
And to have AI on top of it building AI audiences is difficult. So we are right now trying to augment the data, bringing these signals from Meta and understanding how to do this, and having this feature of product audience match. You are using Clustie, you decide for which product you want to generate the audience, and we generate the audience, and you can integrate and sell that product specifically. So I would focus on these two big areas, so budget optimization and product audience match.
Wow. Super exciting times. I can't wait to see what comes next for you guys. And of course, I wish you every success with the platform. If you could pick one thing about the industry to fix or change, you could sprinkle fairy dust on it and change it at the snap of your fingers, what would it be?
I think that let's talk about the marketing agencies again. Let's talk about the mindset of the marketing agencies. So I really think that we should embrace all the technology that we have in front of our eyes and not be resistant to do it. Because if we resist a lot, in the end, we will get tired and probably something bad is going to happen. So embrace this technology. And at the same time, I think that the essentials for the brand, not for the brands, the essentials need to be done. And the essentials are, you need to have a proper platform, you need to guarantee that all the trackers are working properly, you need to guarantee that you have proper communication, that you have campaigns running normally, and that you measure everything that is happening in order that you can take decisions in terms of the budget that you are allocating. And to do this on an optimal way, you should adopt technology and AI technology. So I think that this adoption of these kind of tools, not only Clustie, but a lot of things that are happening, super interesting things that are happening, that are available for the marketing teams, for the e-commerce teams. I think that this tech adoption, AI tech adoption for the brands, for all the users, is something that I would like to, that would happen in the industry.
Wow. Couldn't have said it better. I couldn't agree more. We work in the tech space. Like we work in different facets of it, but we all work in the tech industry. And if you are not tech forward, tech first, tech savvy, tech leaders, I think the agency landscape is going to look so different in 24 months. Probably half of the agencies will just go away because they can't adapt fast enough. They don't have the mindset to adapt fast enough to these changes. And they're going to just get beat by the agencies that are more efficient, can run with leaner teams, et cetera, with the help of technology. So if you position your agency as tech first, then man, you better live it every single day. Otherwise, you're going to have serious problems over the next couple of years. But I'm also excited with the new agencies that will come into being that are AI first right from the beginning, and they embrace these technologies right from day one. I think there's, like in any major, if I look back at the changes that happened with mobile, when mobile became the norm and mobile became the one of the primary viewports that people consumed content through and did commerce through, that killed a lot of agencies that couldn't adapt fast enough. All of these changes always have the potential to kill or accelerate your agency. And I think AI is no different.
At the same time, Jason, we can see, and you were asking about a little bit of futurology and thinking on what's going to happen next. We can see, we need to consider changes. And if we think about Instagram, for example, everyone is on Instagram, but I don't have a lot of followers on my personal account, but every day I'm seeing people leaving Instagram, pausing their accounts, blocking everything, deleting the app from their phones, because we are getting tired of the content. We are getting tired, our families are getting tired of our addiction to this kind of content. So people are thinking on how to be healthier in terms of their digital adoption.
Yes.
So on this landscape, the ones that are thinking on what's going to happen next, I think that we should start thinking on the moment where advertising will no longer be in Meta, where it's going to be.
Yes.
And I think that we have a great opportunity to think about it, because we are already doing some things. We are already talking with ChatGPT and Claude and everything to ask about what I am going to do tomorrow and where should I go. And I'm going to visit Rome in a couple of weeks. What should I see in Rome? Can you tell me? Okay, and there is any restaurant close to the attraction that you are suggesting me? And I think that can happen because we are getting tired of the content, and I don't know if this is going to be a trend in the next years.
Yeah, I know for me, I rarely go on Facebook. I rarely, apart from for business purposes, I rarely go on it. The place that I spend the most time from a social perspective is LinkedIn. The
Yep.
reality is that I don't spend a lot of time on social media apart from for business purposes and posting business content. I don't really spend a lot of time on social media for personal purposes. It's very rare. So I totally agree. Now, if people want to get a hold of you, I'll drop a link to your LinkedIn profile as well as to your websites in the show notes. Other than that, if people want to reach out to you and talk about all things sort of audience analytics and audience technology, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can go to Instagram, LinkedIn, all those channels. You have Fullvenue, Clustie present. If you look for Fullvenue, you will find our account. At the same time, if you go to our website, Clustie AI, you will find a lot of interesting resources. And last week we launched a new one that is tailored to e-commerce brands. And we have 30 days program where they can boost everything that they are doing with their store. And we are dividing it per weeks. You will find the resource there. And yes, feel free to share a message. The channels are there, LinkedIn is also there, and we are active in all of them. And I'm more than happy to have great discussions about this. And if I can help in some way, I will be really happy to do it.
Amazing, incredible. It's been a fascinating conversation. An hour has absolutely rushed by. Now we're at the point of our conversation where I get to flip the script. I get to hand the microphone over to you. I get to let you ask me one question, any question you like. It could be personal or professional. Mr. Tiago Costa Rocha from Fullvenue and Clustie, what is your question for me today?
What do you think that you would do if tomorrow this kind of content was not available anymore on these platforms like YouTube, Shopify, and you needed to be present only on the AI platform? So if you need to shift your marketing channels that you are using today, how do you think it can look like to promoting your product? Because your product is there and you have your product that you are launching 3 episodes per week. But if all these channels that we are talking about are over and you need to look into the new technologies, how do you think it would look like to advertise or to be present inside that kind of platforms?
Very good question. For me, my podcast is not a business. It's not my primary. It's not how I make a living. It's my consulting is how I make a living. And so making sure that my consulting website content, etc., is valuable and present in as many of the large language models. And I'm constantly checking. I'm doing queries around my industry and my work and all that sort of stuff. I'm constantly doing it across Grok and Gemini and Claude and all sorts of ChatGPT. And I'm trying to figure out and trying to reverse engineer in my head how they're finding the answers, how they're ranking the answers, how they're presenting the answers, and trying to make sure that I'm relevant to those engines just as much as I'm relevant in Google search today, for example. And I would double and triple and quadruple down on that. Now, if the content channels went away tomorrow, so I don't know, let's say Apple Music went away, so Apple Podcasts went away, let's say Spotify went away, and let's say YouTube went away, that starts to become a little tougher. But I would certainly probably what I would probably do is I would probably shift everything to something like a Wistia or something that was self-hosted, right? Where there's when YouTube first came out, it was compute was expensive, storage was expensive, bandwidth was expensive, like everything was expensive. And so now I would probably maybe even develop my own video hosting platform, and then it's unlikely that the social channels like LinkedIn, et cetera, would go away overnight. And certainly with the growth of AI channels, I would link to my own content platform from my own website, and I would be socializing that through all of the communication channels that I communicate with my audience today, and think that it is now more viable than ever before to host your own content, to serve up your own content, to make it searchable. And in fact, I'm building an AI, Jason AI, trained on all my content right now as we speak. And so I think that is going to become so much more common that there's going to be an AI abstraction layer that sits between those content channels and people that want to interact with your content. That even already, if somebody wanted to ask a specific question around my content or my 645 episodes, or they would say, hey, has Jason and the e-commerce edge ever hosted X? It will tell you already, because it's already indexing all of the transcripts of YouTube videos today. And so I think being able to self-host your own content and be your own epicenter on the internet. I'm already starting to play with Medium. I'm playing with Substack. So I'm trying to diversify, and I'm doing more on Reddit today than I ever have done before. So I'm trying to diversify where I'm visible as much as possible, because I think too much concentration on 1, 2, or 3 platforms, it's just super risky today, because the hot platforms of today probably aren't going to be the hot platforms of tomorrow. But I think if you can be omnipresent as much as possible across all platforms, then they cross-pollinate each other with data all the time. They're constantly sharing data with each other, and people are posting YouTube links to Reddit, and people are posting Reddit links on YouTube, and all sorts of other things. So the reality is there's a tremendous amount of cross-pollination happening today. So I think the more omnipresent you can be, the further you de-risk the possibility that any one channel goes away tomorrow.
Yeah, but it's an interesting exercise to think about this, because in the end we are dependent on a lot of these platforms to do our work. And I can imagine, when I think about this question that I make to you, when I'm asked about it, I kind of block, because if there is no Google, if there is no Meta, if we cannot use YouTube to launch our content, what we will do? Nothing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because we need to think about it,
Yeah.
because we don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. But in the end, if we think about movies, if there were no cinemas, we could not see them. So we need to have the proper platforms. But it's an interesting question, because it's difficult to answer. But at the same time, I think we need to think about it. And you are already doing that, as you said.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Couldn't agree more. Listen, this has been a fantastic conversation. Super appreciate your time, your generosity of time with me and my audience. And I wish you every success, especially with Clustie. And I cannot wait to speak to you again soon. Thank you so much. Are you a B2B or D2C e-commerce merchant? Then head over to greenwoodconsulting.net to learn how we can help you scale your business.